Good morning, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, and that means it's a brand new opportunity to do something amazing, and it all begins today. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Monday. We have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're part of my conversation with actor, producer, director David Moscow discussing his brand new book from scratch. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with their Monday headlines. In international news, Kherson celebrates Russian exit, yet faces huge rebuilding. Residents of Kherson celebrated the end of Russia's 8-month occupation for the third straight day on Sunday, even as they took stock of the extensive damage left behind in the southern Ukrainian city by the Kremlin's retreating forces. A jubilant crowd gathered in Kherson's main square, despite the distant thumps of artillery fire that could be heard as Ukrainian forces pressed on with their effort to push out Moscow's invasion force. It's a new year for us, says one 24-year-old individual who wore on her coat a yellow and blue ribbon in Ukraine's national colors. For the first time in many months, I wasn't scared to come into the city, she said. But even as locals rejoiced, the evidence of Russia's ruthless occupation was all around, and Russian forces still control some 70% of the wider Kherson region. With cell phone networks knocked out, individuals lined up to use a satellite phone connection set up for everyone's use in the square, enabling them to swap news with family and friends for the first time in weeks. Downtown stores were shuttered, with many people having fled the city during the Russian occupation. The city's streets were thinly populated. Many of the few people venturing out Sunday carried yellow and blue flags. On the square, people lined up to ask soldiers to autograph their flags and rewarded them with hugs. Some even wept. More bleakly, Kherson is also without electricity or running water, and food and medical supplies are short. Residents said Russian troops plundered the city, carting away loot as they withdrew last week. They also wrecked key public infrastructure before retreating across the wider Dnieper River to its east bank. One Ukrainian official described the situation in Kherson as a humanitarian catastrophe. Ukrainian authorities said the demining of critical infrastructure is underway in the city. Reconnecting the electricity supply is a priority, with gas supplies already assured, Kherson's regional governor said on Sunday. The Russian pullout marked a triumphant milestone in Ukraine's pushback against Moscow's invasion almost 9 months ago. In the past 2 months, Ukraine's military claimed to have retaken dozens of towns and villages north of the city of Kherson. Ukrainian President Zelensky vowed to keep up the pressure on Russian forces, reassuring the people in Ukrainian cities and villages that are still under occupation. "We don't forget anyone. We won't leave anyone," he said. Ukraine's retaking of Kherson was a significant setback for the Kremlin and the latest in a series of battlefield embarrassments. The U.S. Embassy in Kyiv tweeted comments Sunday by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who described the turnaround in Kherson as an extraordinary victory for Ukraine and quite a remarkable thing. In national news, investigation underway over mid-air crash at Dallas Air Show. National transportation officials were in Dallas on Sunday investigating the cause of the mid-air crash of 2 historic military planes during an air show that left 6 people dead. A World War II-era bomber and a fighter plane collided and crashed to the ground in a ball of flames on Saturday, leaving crumpled wreckage in a grassy area inside the Dallas Executive Airport perimeter about 10 miles from the city's downtown. The crash came 3 years after the crash of a bomber in Connecticut that killed 7, and amid ongoing concerns about the safety of air shows involving older warplanes. The company that owned the planes flying in the wings of our Dallas show has had other crashes in its more than 60-year history. In more national news, Democrats keep Senate majority as GOP push falters in Nevada. Democrats kept control of the Senate on Saturday, repelling Republican efforts to retake the chamber and making it harder for them to stop President Joe Biden's agenda. The fate of the House was still uncertain as the GOP struggled to pull together a slim majority there. The Democrats' victory in Nevada gave Democrats 50 seats they needed to keep the Senate. Her win reflects the surprising strength of Democrats across the U.S. this election year. Seeking re-election in an economically challenged state that has some of the highest gas prices in the nation, Cortez Masto is considered the Senate's most vulnerable member, adding to the frustrations of Republicans who are confident she could be defeated. And finally, in entertainment news, Black Panther's sequel scores second biggest debut of 2022. The box office roared back to life with the long-awaited release of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, The Marvel sequel earned $180 million in ticket sales from more than 4,300 theaters in U.S. and Canada, according to estimates from the Walt Disney Company on Sunday, making it the second biggest opening of the year behind Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That made the top 5 movies over the weekend. Number 1, Black Panther Wakanda Forever with $180 million. Number 2, Black Adam with $9 million. Number 3, Ticket to Paradise with $6 million. Number 4, Lao Lao Crocodile with $3 million. And number 5, Smile with $2 million. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Monday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Begin the week believing that you can do what you set out to do and achieve what you set out to achieve. Have faith that this week will be better than the last week. This week you will be victorious. Have an amazing Monday. David Moscow speaks in today's Entertainment Spotlight. We're here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Actor, producer, director, and now author David Moscow joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show through Cyrus Webb Presents, to talk about his new book and the show from scratch and how it all began. Here's a bit of our conversation. We've gotten to know you because of your creativity, as I mentioned, as an actor, producer, director. But I feel like through From Scratch, the show, and now through the book, we get to know about David's curiosity. So I want to ask you that question. What has that been like for you to share your curiosity about the world with now all of us?
Oh, wow. What a great sort of, you teased out sort of the heart of the book in a way. I think with all things creative, with acting, with writing, with directing and producing, your problem solving. And at the heart of this, that's what was going on in the book. We would give ourselves missions where I would meet with a chef and they would make me a meal, and then I would have to figure out how each ingredient was made in that meal and then go out and get it myself. So problems, right? And I think curiosity is it. Curiosity about people, right? The same thing that pushes you as an actor, teasing out the personalities of your characters, also kind of lends itself to exploring, in this case, food production, right? Like, I grew up in the Bronx and spend a lot of my childhood going back and forth between Hollywood and New York because I was a child actor. I was in the movie Big with Tom Hanks, and that kind of But I had cousins in Utah and Montana, and as a child we would go apple picking, and my cousins would go fishing, and they lived this sort of like, for me, an exotic life. I looked at that and was like, wow, that's so different than this city kid that I grew up with.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We're about to get on tomorrow's morning news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today, and let's go make it a great one.